Part 6 of the unit on money and money supply will help us to understand the objectives of monetary policies in broad terms, qualitative and quantitative controls used by RBI to regulate the money supply in the economy. The Reserve Bank of India began its operation in April 1935 in accordance with RBI Act 1934. In the beginning, RBI was wholly owned by private shareholders. It was nationalized on January 1st, 1949. The main committee of the central bank is the Central Board of Directors. They are appointed by Government of India for a period of 4 years. The board consists of governor, 4 deputy governors, 4 directors to represent regional boards, and 10 other directors from various other fields. The present governor of RBI is Shaktikant Das, and the 4 deputy governors are Sri N.S. Vishwanathan, Sri Viral Acharya, Sri B.P. Kanagu, Sri Mahesh Kumar Jain. The 4 zonal offices of RBI are located at New Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai. It has 21 regional and 11 sub offices throughout India. RBI plays a fundamental role in Indian economy by performing numerous functions such as undertaking the overall supervision of the financial sector comprising of commercial banks, financial institutions and non-banking finance companies as a banker and a debt manager to government, printing and issuing currency, custodian of foreign exchange reserves by being a banker's bank and many other functions. One of the most crucial and essential function and role of RBI is to maintain financial stability in an economy. It tries to regulate the flow of money supply in an economy through implementation of effective and efficient monetary policy. The basic objectives of monetary policy are to regulate monetary growth and maintain price stability, help in adequate expansion and contribute towards economic growth of the country, ensure growth of priority and neglected sector through proper credit policy, that is agriculture and MSME sectors. You'll always find that RBI making some provisions or some announcement which are specially directed towards the different credit schemes which are aimed at expansion, modernization or growth of basically agriculture and the MSME sector in the country. And last is to strengthen the banking system of the country. RBI tries to maintain control over the money supply and credit in the economy with the help of different quantitative and qualitative instruments of credit supply. The different quantitative instruments of credit control, which are also known as general tools of monetary policy, are used and which are used by RBI includes variable reserve requirement, open market operations, and bank rate. Now, the reason they are called as general tools is because they are once applied, they are applicable to entire credit and banking system without any discrimination. Let us try to understand the first quantitative control of money supply, which is variable reserve requirement. It has two components under it. It is cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. Now, VRR, that is variable reserve requirement, refers to reserve ratio that banks are liable to maintain with the central bank. The two reserve ratios that commercial bank needs to maintain our cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. The cash reserve ratio refers to that portion of total deposits in commercial bank which it has to keep with RBI. CRR is the ratio of banks' net demand and time liabilities with RBI. CRR helps to ensure the liquidity and solvency of banks. Banks do not earn any interest on the amount which has been kept as CRR with RBI. While statutory liquidity ratio refers to the portion of total deposits of commercial bank which they have to keep with themselves in the form of liquid assets like gold, cash and other approved government securities. Higher the rate of CRR and SLR would mean higher proportion of bank resources will have to be maintained as reserves. This will reduce the ability of banks to grant loans and advances. This measure thus helps in maintaining monetary stability by helping to check the increasing inflation. For example, if the total net demand and time liabilities with the bank is rupees 10 lakhs and CRR is 10% while SLR is 30%, then the capital that is available with the bank to grant as credit is rupees 6 lakhs, while 4 lakhs will have to be kept as reserves with reserves in the form of CRR and SLR. If the inflation in the economy is increasing, then RBI will increase the rate of reserves ratio. In case of deflationary trend, this ratio would be reduced and more would be injected into the economy. Higher rate of reserves ratio leads to contraction in money supply, while lower rate of reserve ratio leads to expansion in money supply. As a part of exercise, just try to find out what is the present rate of CRR and SLR as announced by RBI. The second method of quantitative control is open market operations. It refers to the activity of buying and selling of government securities in open market to control and regulate the supply of money in banking system. RBI buys and sells short-term and long-term securities in the open market. During inflation, when there is when the money supply is more, in order to reduce the money supply, thereby the purchasing power available with the public, RBI sells government securities in open market to private individuals and commercial banks. This helps in absorbing the excess liquidity as money gets transferred from commercial bank and private individuals to RBI. If economy is facing recession, then RBI would buy government securities and inject the additional liquidity, that is pass on more cash into the economy so that more demand could be generated into economy. Next one is bank rate. The section 49 of RBI Act 1934 defines bank rate as a standard rate at which RBI is willing to buy or rediscount bills of exchange or other commercial papers eligible for purchase. Bank rate is the interest rate which RBI charges to commercial banks when banks want to borrow long-term funds from RBI. In simple words, it means the rate at which the RBI would provide loans to commercial banks. Changes in the bank rate would either lead to expansion or contraction of credit supply in the market. During inflation, the bank rate could be increased, while during recession, it could reduce. Thus, during inflation, the cost of credit would be high, while during recession, the cost of credit would be low. RBI does not use bank rate to regulate money supply these days. Instead, penal rates are now linked to the bank rate. It means a bank is penalized if it fails to keep the CRR and SLR as prescribed by RBI. The penal rates are 300 basis points, that is 3% above bank rates. The next quantitative control of money supply used by RBI is repo and reverse repo rates. Repo rates or benchmark interest rate is the rate at which commercial banks borrow for a short term from RBI. It is for maximum 90 days. Repo rate is also technically a repo is also known as repurchasing options. Increase in repo rate makes borrowing from RBI expensive and vice versa. The loans are granted to commercial banks against the collateral of government securities such as treasury bills. One important point that we need to know here is that the government securities which are provided by banks as collateral cannot be from statutory liquidity reserves, as this would bring down statutory liquidity reserves below the stipulated rate which is mentioned and announced by RBI from time to time. In case the SLR falls below the stipulated rate, then the bank will have to pay penalty. The rate at which the commercial banks deposit their surplus cash with RBI for short period is known as reverse repo rate. It can also be defined as a rate at which RBI borrows from commercial banks. The reverse repo rate is always lower compared to repo rate. It means RBI borrows at a lower rate from commercial bank while it always lends at a higher rate to commercial bank. For example, if repo rate is 6%, then reverse repo rate will be less than 6%. Repo rate indicates the rate at which RBI injects liquidity in the banking system, while reverse repo rate indicates the rate at which RBI absorbs liquidity from the system. Both repo and reverse repo rate have inverse relationship with the volume of money supply in the economy. When economy is facing inflation, RBI will usually hike both repo and reverse repo rate. This is aimed at reducing excess money supply in the economy and curb the purchasing power of individual. While during recession, RBI increases the money supply in the economy by lowering repo and reverse repo rates. The next method is liquidity adjustment facility. This scheme was introduced by RBI in the year 2000 to enable commercial banks avail the facility of liquidity in case they need to borrow or deposit excess funds with RBI on overnight basis against the collateral of government securities. The minimum amount sanctioned or deposited is rupees 5 crores and thereafter in multiples of 5 crores. The operation of liquidity adjustment facility are conducted with the help of repurchase agreements through repo and reverse repo rate. The last one is marginal standing facility. This scheme was introduced in May 2011 for all the scheduled commercial banks. Under the scheme, commercial banks can borrow up to 2% of their total deposit. RBI receives application under this facility for a minimum amount of rupees 1 crore and in multiples of rupees 1 crore thereafter. The important difference, kindly note, the important difference between borrowing at repo rate and under marginal standing facility is that under marginal standing facilities, banks are allowed to provide government securities from statutory liquidity reserves as collateral security. The limit is up to 1% of total amount needed by commercial bank. Coming to the qualitative instruments which are used by RBI for controlling or regulating the credit flow into the economy. Now, just like the quantitative instruments are known as general tools of credit control, the qualitative instruments are known as selective tools of credit control, and they are basically discriminatory in nature. It means qualitative instruments of credit control aim at increasing credit to one sector or a type of industry while reducing the credit flow to some other sector. First one is margin requirement. It refers to proportion of loan which has to be self-financed by the borrower. It is basic requirement to be eligible for grant of loan by a financial institution. It is proportion of loan amount which is not financed by a bank. If the margin requirement is 25%, it means bank would sanction only 75% of total amount required to finance a particular project. It is also referred to as loan to value ratio. The margin requirement for the priority sector lending may be low, while for consumer loans it could be high. The percentage of margin requirement is higher during inflation and lower during recession. The second method is moral suasion. It is a method through which RBI tries to exert pressure on commercial banks without resorting to any strict actions for compliance of the rules. It gives suggestions to commercial banks and tries to align the objectives of monetary policy and actions of commercial banks with respect to the credit flow in the economy. Under moral suasion of RBI, it issues directives, guidelines, and suggestions for commercial banks regarding reducing credit supply for speculative purposes or for increasing credit supply to priority sectors or for any productive purposes. It encourages banks to reduce their non-performing assets or to pass on the benefits of reduced repo rate to consumers by reducing the basic lending rate of commercial bank for specific or general purposes. The third method is consumer credit regulations. In this, RBI tries to regulate consumer credit through higher purchase and installment sale of consumer goods. Consumer credit regulations are used to fix the down payment, installment amount, loan duration, etc. in advance. This helps us in checking the flow and use of consumer credit and ensuring the repayment of loan within the fixed stipulated period of time. During inflation, the loan duration could be reduced and installment amount may be hiked to reduce the flow of credit for purchasing different consumer goods. Credit rationing is another way in which RBI tries to control the supply of money. In this, it tries to seek to limit the maximum amount of loans and advances and sometimes fix ceiling for specific categories of loans and advances. It helps RBI control the credit sanction and allocated by commercial bank for different activities. Credit rationing helps to limit the amount available for each commercial bank. This method controls even bill rediscounting, that is, bill of exchange rediscounting. RBI also tries to control money supply through directives. It issues frequent directives to commercial banks so as to enable them to frame their own credit policies in line with the objectives of RBI's monetary policy. Through directives, the RBI is able to influence the credit structure, supply of credit limit for a specific sector or a specific purpose. The commercial banks are expected not to sanction credit for speculative activities like purchase of securities, trading in stock market, etc. As its next method, it also resorts to direct actions on commercial bank for non-compliance of any rules. If certain commercial banks are not following the directives used by commercial bank, then RBI may take direct action against these banks by refusing to rediscount their bills and securities, by refusing credit to those banks whose borrowings are more than their capital. It may also penalize such banks by changing some rates such as penal rate of interest for demanding credit over a certain limit. It can even ban or recommend the merger of a bank in case the bank fails to to bu- adhere by directives issued by RBI. The last method that we can consider is publications and guidelines. RBI always tries to publish annual, quarterly, bi-monthly, monthly, weekly reports stating different information about economy. It helps to understand the desirable and undesirable activities in the system. These published guidelines help commercial banks to channelize their credit towards desirable sectors or activities. It helps commercial banks to design and implement their credit policy and help achieve the objectives of monetary policy. Now, having gone through both quantitative and qualitative methods of credit control, we ought to remember here is the success of quantitative and qualitative instruments of credit control will largely depend on the size of organized market, because if an economy is more into unorganized market, it means RBI will not have a control, or for that matter the central bank of the nation will not have a control on that part of a market, and hence any amount of methods or any amount of controls will not help in effectively controlling the inflation or recession in the economy. So it also depends, along with the size of organized market, on institutions that are under control of RBI, availability of alternate sources of credit. If suppose people in the country do not have to take loan only from the financial institutions, but they have different other options through which they can take a loan, and if these institutions do not come under the control of RBI, then monetary policy might not be that effective. It also depends on the commercial dependence of commercial banks on RBI, nature of fiscal policy, and so many and other things in the economy. So the effectiveness of monetary policy, RBI's role into the control of money supply is subjective to many conditions uh, working in coordination with each other into any economy. Now, having learned the different uh, aspects about money and money supply. Do try to answer these questions. Do try to analyze the data of RBI and different indices of money supply. Compare the data of M1 with the rate of inflation, how it is impacting, because this will help you all to understand the real life situation, and help you all to understand the working of the RBI, the functioning of money supply in a much better way. In the slides, I have mentioned the different reference books in this slide and the coming slide, which you all can read to understand each and every concept in a much better way, to have a broader outlook which is outside the syllabus of your university. These are few more references which have been used to make this audio visual for the unit on money and money supply. If all these uh, references are not available to y'all, though many are online references itself, but in case they are not available to y'all, try to go through the RBI site, check out for the different data which has been published on money and money supply by RBI over the years. Just try to draw simple graphs and understand how inflation and money supply has changed over a period of time. All this will give you all a better understanding into how Indian economy, the money supply into Indian economy, the role of RBI. Also try to have a look at the different announcements which are done in into the monetary policy with respect to repo rate, reverse repo rate, uh, considering the pandemic situation that we are into right now, try to go through the major announcement that RBI has made with respect to repayment of loan for different sectors, with respect to granting of loan to different sectors, or basically to promote the entrepreneurship. So do try to have some additional reading. I'll be posting many more articles for y'all to read as we go through this chapter. Thank you and have a very nice. Just adding up to the reference list on this chapter, more references, broader the outlook, better the understanding. A few more to end the chapter or the unit on money and money supply. This entire unit on money and money supply, which is divided into 6 parts, will be uploaded on my YouTube channel, Economics Made Easy, whose link will be made available to you all. So in case you all need any detailed explanation or a clarification on any point, any subtopic, you all can post me a question in the comment box. I shall try to answer your questions with examples or with as simple language as possible, so that there is no difficulty in understanding any point or any doubt that you all might have. Thank you, everyone.